We're doing a video here for Adelaide business events. Today I'm talking with Phil Stump from the Eastside BEC. G'day Phil, welcome to the call.
Hi Nick, how you going? Good to be here with you.
Awesome, I'm going pretty well, despite the terrible weather at the moment. And I trust you're doing well as well.
It's good for small business to be inside doing some business planning, I think.
That's true, yeah, we can't get distracted by by going
The weather.
outside and getting lost out there, so you've got to be inside, hunkering down, getting some work done.
Yeah.
So today I wanted to talk about sort of the idea behind the BEC model in general, because there's several around Adelaide, but also the Eastside BEC specifically, some of the stuff you do for small businesses, and some of the events and things that you run, which is how we connected by coming along to one of your events, which was great fun, a good little networking breakfast. So let's get started perhaps by I'll get you to explain exactly what the BEC sort of model is.
Yeah, Nick, it has changed a fair bit over the years because BEC's been around in Adelaide for about 17, 18 years. And we've seen a fair bit of change in that with different support from government or whatever. The BEC network now has changed its face a fair bit. There's probably about 7 or 8 of us still operating in Adelaide. Some have gone down the path of registered training organisations. We've got one in Port Adelaide that's an RTO, but also got an incubator attached to it. Up at Tea Tree Gully, it's a bit like us with business support, but it's got a strong training arm in the trade area. So from the general entrepreneur out there looking for some business support, the BECs have changed a fair bit, but they're still fairly active with the spread from down south at Onkaparinga right out through to Salisbury with the Polaris Centre, which a lot of people might know there. At Eastside BEC, we're very focused on the eastern region of Adelaide. So we've got 6 councils in a group called the ERA group of councils that support us, and that goes from Unley through Burnside, Campbelltown, Norwood, bit of Walkerville and Prospect. And yeah, what we try and do is in that area is assist businesses very much who are either a starting business, which was fairly traditional for the BEC network, was engaging with people before they actually got too far into their business and talk through what they're trying to do, the market they're trying to do, and really the costing of getting into it. And then a lot of the other work we're doing now, and we're probably seeing a lot more at the moment, is established businesses who are still small businesses or micro businesses. Most of our work would be in the area where it's, you know, that 1 to 5 employees or 0 if you count the owner, and it's really sitting down with those sort of people and doing face-to-face business support and helping them. Where are they at with their business? What are the issues? Most people at the moment it's cash flow and getting their market established, and you get pretty overcome, I think, by everything that's out there at the moment. You get overwhelmed. The cash flow is looking pretty crappy, and you got the rent still going out. So sometimes it's just trying to mentor people and getting them back on track. But certainly the key aspect from Eastside BC, we're still probably more traditional to the core of what BCs were about in terms of engaging one-on-one, face-to-face with businesses. Yes, I'll talk about the networking and the workshops, but it's really that engagement where you've got someone to come and talk through the issues that you're facing in a small business. Everyone's, like we're doing right now, the online aspects of business, and that's huge in terms of the marketing, but you can be lost out there in the woods of really where you're going, and you know, getting some direction. Family doesn't understand what you're doing, and that sort of thing. So you're really having a sounding board to sound off what the issues are. We're doing quite a bit of work at the moment just trying to get a handle on the entrepreneurial landscape of Adelaide, because that's certainly changing a lot, and that's where you and I were talking the other day. There's a fair few things happening in Adelaide, and certainly Eastside BEC is fairly focused in trying to get a good handle on what is out there. So we're seeing a lot of the co-working space, which when I first started in this quite a few years ago, I started an incubator on a university campus down at Theberton. But now what we're seeing is a lot of this co-worker space coming up in Adelaide, Distillery and Adelaide Hub, and we've got a new one out in the Parade as well. And that's an interesting concept because it's helping small businesses get out of their home, connect with other businesses. You're not on your own, and understanding some of the issues you face are similar. But then having someone outside that group too, like a BEC, we can sit down and do some of that discussion of what are the issues in that business, and in terms of trying to get some strategy going forward. So yeah, it's an interesting space at the moment, and challenging for the people in that space. We've seen government support for different programs come and go. So it is good, like Eastside BEC has now been around 15, 16 years, and it's good to actually have some of those that have stuck through that period of time and available there to help small businesses.
Awesome, yeah, great little introduction there to whatever, all this sort of different roles that you're doing, and also how that you're trying to embrace some of the changes that are happening in Adelaide and with entrepreneurship and co-working and stuff, which is awesome. Just to go back to sort of the model again, is it government funded, or is it semi-government, semi sort of self-funded, or how does it work?
Yeah, and it changes a bit across those different centres, but most of them, and certainly I'll talk about Eastside BEC. So Eastside BEC, we're getting some support from the Eastern Regional Alliance of Councils, so those 6 councils I mentioned before. So they're giving us some core funding. What that's enabling us to do is, one, keep the door open, which is fantastic and certainly greatly appreciated. But then what we're doing is using that to lever funding. So at the moment we've got a small business advisory service program we're running with Oz Industry, and the advantage, and it's probably we're unique in terms of what we're doing with that funding, in terms of our target is to engage with 400 new small business, new in terms we haven't seen them before, new small businesses, and that funding enables us to initially meet with those people for free. But the business model for Eastside BEC now is one where we working towards more sponsorship, but it's also a low-cost user pay system. So we've got away from the free BEC service as it was, and after the initial introduction, it is, we get people to join up as a member, which is really low cost, $99, and then that enables them to access services like with one-on-one with an advisor, and also, as you mentioned earlier in the introduction, is the access into the training workshops. So this month coming up, we've got a workshop on workplace health and safety, so WHS, the old OHS, so which is really impacting on small businesses needing to comply with that by the 1st of January 2014. And then later in the month we've got a workshop on intellectual property. So that we're doing the skills workshops. For members there's a discounted rate for that, so that's part of that membership thing. And then, as you also said, we run some networking events. So I caught up with you where we, on a monthly basis, we meet at the Arkaba, about 20-25 businesses, and it's just informal, break down the barrier, not huge groups, so you can actually interact with some of the people there, and it's making the connections in Adelaide of what support's there. So that's a more intimate type networking session. And then last week we ran, which we do every 2 months, we ran an evening networking session at the Norwood Hotel. We got 65 businesses turn up for that, and that's where, again, in that evening setting, no rush, have a few drinks, have a chat with businesses. What we're finding over the last probably 6 to 12 months, businesses are using that just to engage with other businesses. Not, yes, they might do some selling or some trading between them, but a lot of it is just meeting someone else, understanding the issues they're facing. Excuse me. And so that's really important in terms of how they connect and not feeling isolated in that that small business space. So we do that. Also, on a bi-monthly basis, we've teamed up with the Hyde Park Rotary, and Rotary's always been a strong supporter of small business programs and things like that. So we run a business breakfast with them, where we do a major sponsor, not a major sponsor, a major speaker, and an interesting topic. So last month we had social media, which not everyone's at the same pace you're at, Nick. A few of us are lagging behind, and so we had a presenter on that, and that's supported by the Adelaide Council, and we had over 80 people coming for the breakfast that day. So it is that sort of part. The BC, Eastside BC, is trying to provide a format and opportunities for small businesses to get out of their space. We're also obviously trying to the Main Street type businesses as well, but that's a fairly challenging market to work with people on, and most of the work we see there is in leasing and a bit of how the Main Street publicity stuff is going. So certainly Norwood's got some, Norwood Payneham St Peters Council's got some really strong programs there, and so has Unley. So yeah, it's a range of stuff like that. Also just added into that the NBN broadband rollout. Parts of Adelaide are getting it, but we've been working with some of the councils who've got some funding, and particularly Prospect, and making sure as many businesses as possible understand what the capability is there. And certainly some of the small businesses listening today should sort of touch base with the Prospect Digital Hub on Main North Road and just see what's there, because it's a huge resource now that's available for small businesses and support small businesses as they go forward with some of these programs. But yeah, the model, as I say, is very much not a full user pay, but it is getting contribution from the small business owners for some of the services, but it's very low cost. Where Eastside BEC sits is we're not going to be your accountant or your lawyer or even your leasing manager. What the aim of us is to get you clear on the issues that you're facing in your business, and once those issues you're facing, get some clarity around that, and then it's a good time then to engage. So when you get the lawyer that's $200 or $300 an hour, you're not wasting 2 or 3 hours trying to work out what you're doing. You've actually got a good idea before you get there, and that's where a lot of the clients of the Eastside BEC are using us for that mentoring, coaching along those lines of getting some clarity around what the business issues that they're doing. So yeah,
great.
It's an interesting space for me.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I can certainly encourage people to take advantage of some of the networking events that you guys offer. Like I said, is where I connected with you the first time was at one of your networking breakfasts at the Arca Bar there, and I've found networking to be really beneficial for my business, and just getting out, being able to talk to other businesses. I think a cross-pollination of ideas is good, but also being able to get some friendships almost with people that have go through similar things that you do. Perhaps your usual friends or your other friends that don't have businesses don't quite understand what you're going through. So it's great for that, but also then taking that further to the services that you guys offer. So the mentoring, I think that sounds fantastic, and also helping people to, like you said with the lawyer example, make the best use of the other resources that they're engaging for their business, to really sort of get the best out of it, I guess. So yeah, that all sounds fantastic. If people want to get involved with the events you're running, or get some advice or get into your programs, what's the best way that they can go about doing that?
Okay, so for that engagement, to find out about us and certainly make some initial contact, and approach us through the website. So eastsidebc.com.au is probably the greatest way people come in and they see the list of events and some of the systems are up there, but also make contact either through the website, email, or a phone call to us and book a session with us. What we're doing at the moment, we are physically located at Campbelltown, and thank you very much to the City of Campbelltown who provides accommodation to us, and we meet clients there. But what we do, we run client advisor sessions at 5 councils 5 mornings a week. So yeah, make contact. So whether it's Burnside, whether it's Unley, whether it's Prospect, we're in those spots where we're close to the businesses so they can get engaged. And yeah, and as I said, Nick, the initial meeting that we have with a new client is a free meeting, but we also find a lot of people just get in contact with us just for the networking, as you're saying. So it's that same thing, and knowing you're not alone out there doing the same thing. It's when your family says, why aren't you getting a real job, and you think, this business is actually a real job, but they don't understand it that way because they don't see you putting on the suit, walking out the door every morning, and you just happen to be making 30 million a week on the internet, which would be great, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure many business owners can relate to that situation you just described there. So yeah, so head to the website there. I'll put a link below this video on our website to go check that out, and we'll also include the events in our events calendar on AdelaideBusinessEvents.com.au. So if anyone wants to go there and check them out there too. Thanks very much, Phil, for joining us today and for explaining a little bit about the Eastside BEC. And I think it's something that business owners should definitely consider checking out.
Nick, much appreciated for the time to have a chat, and fully support you in what you're doing with the website and connecting, because it's getting this entrepreneurial community in Adelaide some connection, and I think some great stuff going forward. So thanks for the time, mate.
No worries. Cheers.
Cheers.